Ethan Parker stared at the glowing screen in front of him. The office was nearly empty. Outside the large windows of the 24th floor, the lights of New York City shimmered against the cold winter night. Most employees had gone home hours ago, but Ethan remained at his desk, finishing reports that seemed endless. At 29 years old, he had become known as one of the most reliable employees in the company. If there was a problem, Ethan solved it. If a deadline was impossible, Ethan met it anyway. His managers praised him, his coworkers respected him, and yet none of them truly knew him. 3 years earlier, his father had died after a long battle with cancer. Since that day, Ethan had buried himself in work. The office became his escape from grief. Every morning he arrived before everyone else. Every evening he left after everyone was gone. One cold December morning, employees received an email requesting an emergency company meeting. Rumors immediately spread through every department. Some believed the company was being sold. Others feared layoffs. At 9 o'clock, hundreds of workers gathered in the conference hall. The CEO stood at the front with a serious expression. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "Unfortunately, our company has faced significant financial challenges this year." The room became silent. As a result, we must reduce our workforce. A wave of fear moved through the crowd. Names began appearing on a screen. One by one, employees were called into private offices. Some returned in tears, others never came back. Ethan sat frozen in his chair. Then he noticed a familiar name. Sarah Mitchell. Sarah worked beside him every day. She was one of the few people who constantly tried to make him smile. A few hours later, she stood beside her desk holding a cardboard box filled with personal belongings. "I guess this is it," she said with a weak smile. Ethan struggled to find words. "I'm sorry," Sarah nodded. Before leaving, she handed him a sealed envelope. "Open this when you're having a really bad day." Then she walked toward the elevator. Ethan watched the doors close. For some reason, the office felt emptier than ever. Weeks passed. The workload doubled. The atmosphere became tense. Everyone worried about losing their jobs. One evening Ethan stayed until midnight finishing reports. Exhausted, he remembered Sarah's envelope. He opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Ethan, if you're reading this, you're probably sitting alone in the office again. I've always admired how hard you work, but I think you're carrying too much pain by yourself. You never talk about your father, but I know how much you miss him. You don't have to be strong every second. Some people care about you more than you realize. Please remember that your value is not determined by your job. Take care of yourself. Sarah." Ethan read the letter 3 times. For the first time in years, tears rolled down his face. Someone had noticed. Someone had understood. The next morning, Ethan arrived at work feeling emotionally drained. As he opened his email, one message immediately caught his attention. The sender was unfamiliar. The subject line read, "Regarding your father." His heart stopped. With trembling hands, he opened the message. The email came from a man named Michael Reynolds. The message explained that Michael had been Ethan's father's closest friend during college. They had lost contact years ago. Recently, while cleaning old boxes, Michael discovered dozens of letters written by Ethan's father. One letter was addressed specifically to Ethan. Michael had spent months trying to find him. Attached to the email was a scanned copy. Ethan hesitated before opening it. When he finally clicked the file, he saw his father's handwriting. His vision blurred instantly. The letter began, "My dear son, if you are reading this, I am no longer with you. There are many things I wanted to say but may never have had the chance to. First, I need you to know something. None of my greatest memories involve money, success, or work. My greatest memory is being your father. Watching you grow up was the greatest privilege of my life. I know you will try to be strong after I'm gone. But strength is not hiding your pain. Strength is allowing yourself to feel it and still moving forward. I hope you chase happiness instead of approval. I hope you spend time with people you love. And most importantly, I hope you forgive yourself for every mistake you think you've made. You have always been enough. Love, Dad." Ethan broke down crying. For years he had blamed himself for not spending enough time with his father during his illness. For years he carried guilt that nobody knew about. Now, with a single letter, his father had given him the forgiveness he desperately needed. That evening, Ethan left work before sunset for the first time in months. Instead of going home, he visited his mother. They sat together for hours talking about old memories. They laughed, they cried, they looked through family photographs. It felt like healing. Over the following months, Ethan slowly changed. He stopped spending every night at the office. He reconnected with friends. He started exercising. He began volunteering at a cancer support center. Most importantly, he learned how to ask for help when he needed it. One day, nearly a year later, Ethan received another email. It was from Sarah. She had found a new job and was doing well. The message ended with a simple question. "Want to grab coffee sometime?" Ethan smiled. Absolutely. A week later they met at a small cafe. They talked for hours. Then they met again. And again. Their friendship slowly grew into something deeper. Years later, standing at his wedding reception, Ethan looked around the room. His mother was smiling. Sarah stood beside him. Family and friends filled the hall with laughter. For a moment, he thought about his father. He wished he could have been there. Then he remembered the words from the letter. "You have always been enough." Ethan looked up and smiled through tears. For the first time in a very long time, he felt complete.